Before we dive in, I've got something for you. If you're studying for the ARE, you don't need to figure it out alone. Inside my free resource hub, you'll find study guides, resource guides, pop quizzes, and other tools designed to make exam prep a whole lot easier. Head to dci.byoungdesign.com/resources or check the link in the show notes to grab it now. It's completely free. All right, enjoy the show. Welcome to Design, Create, Inspire, the podcast where we explore architecture, exam prep, and creative design of all sorts. I'm your host, Bryn Young. If this is your first time here, hello. I am an award-winning licensed architect in California and actually soon to be Idaho, which is very exciting. I am the founder of BYoung Design. This is the studio where we are dedicated to help aspiring architects, just like you, pass their exams and get licensed. So today we're going to dive into the world of ARE 5.0 scoring. How do you actually decode your NCARB score report and use that knowledge to help you pass? Plus, I've got a free tool to share with you, so stay tuned. All right, before we jump in, let's set the scene. The architect registration exam, or of course the ARE, it's your key to becoming a licensed architect. You have to pass it in the United States to become licensed. This is developed by NCARB with hundreds of volunteer architects and psychometricians, if I'm saying that right. It ensures you have the skills to protect the public health, safety, and welfare, which if you have started studying for your exams, you know that is the number one key of being an architect. But how do they determine if you actually pass? Because obviously with 6 exams, with a plus or minus 50% pass rate, whether you pass or fail is the big thing, right? The big, how do you do it? Well, that's what we're unpacking today. And honestly, it's a bit simpler once you understand the process and you understand how you can actually decode the score report that you get. So first, how is the ARE scored? This is obviously super important because each division has operational questions, which there's 1 point for a correct answer, 0 for incorrect or unanswered ones. So basically, there's no partial credit here, which has its pros and its cons, right? So remember this while you're taking your exams, because if you don't know an answer, literally put anything, like click C and move on, because there's a better chance of you scoring a point on that question than if you leave it blank. Okay? Now, to pass, you need to meet or beat the cut score, which shifts slightly per exam form based on question difficulty. So does that make sense? So there's a couple different exams for each division. So every time you go in there, it's not necessarily going to be the exact same exam. So the actual cut score for a specific exam might shift a little bit. And NCARB uses a criterion referenced approach, which means it's about your minimum competence, not how you compare to others, like passing a driver's license test. Okay, you can dig into the details on NCARB's exam scoring blog. It's definitely worth a read. I have a blog post associated with this episode, which referenced that and links it too, so you can check that out. Okay, let's talk about the NCARB score report. So this is what you actually get after your exam. You're going to take your exam. You'll get provisional feedback, which means they're going to let you know whether you likely passed or failed right after the exam. But then in a few days, or whatever the timing is right now, sometimes it's a few days. I've heard it could be a week. They will send you out an actual score report. So on that score report, you're going to see a scaled score from 100 to 800. So this isn't a raw count of correct answers. NCARB adjusts it for each form's unique stats, like I mentioned earlier. So they don't actually share that conversion of like what exactly it means. There's a lot of guessing and trying to figure it out, but it's not an exact science. But the higher the score, obviously, the better you did. A big number to watch for is 550. Now, again, this number isn't exact, and it's actually been up for debate for a few years. At one point, it was like people said 640, but NCARB actually put out a recent blog that states if you're nearing 550, you're close to passing. And again, it depends on the actual exam you're taking and the division, but 550 is kind of like a goal point that you can look for. They say that, for example, 500 means you're just a few questions away, while, say, a mid 400s, like 415 to 525, they suggest you're 6 to 8 questions off, but you're improving. And if you fail, you want to check page 2 for section percentages compared to the average passer. This is going to tell you what you scored versus what the average person who passes scores, to give you some sort of benchmark of how you can get to that pass. But again, you can actually score lower in some of those sections and still pass. So it's not an exact science, but it is very useful for your next attempt, so you know where to focus your energy so you get the best return on investment, essentially, for your study sessions. So NCARB's score report guide explains it more. So when you get it, it'll like break it all down. But here's the thing. Don't overthink the like 1 question away from passing or 5 to 6 questions away, because I'll hear that a lot. Like, oh, I failed, but only by like 4 questions, and people can get into their head and spiral a little bit. Sometimes it can actually bring people down if they know that they were super close. So what I say here is don't overthink the numbers in terms of like 1 question away, because also you don't even know. Like, the score calculators that are out there right now give a rough estimate of like 1 question, 2 questions, but honestly, it's really just a guess. So take it for what it is, which is data. That is what these score reports are really just giving us, is data to figure out where we need to nail down the information just that much better, what we really need to focus on, what we need to study. Okay, so why does 550 matter? NCARB's data shows that about 50% of candidates score within 4 points of the cut score. That's a crazy tight window. And about 5% fail by 1 point, 5% by 2, 5% by 3, and 4% by 4. And then on the flip side, 6% pass at the cut. Like, can you imagine getting your score and you pass literally like at the exact number? And then with 6% passing by 1, 2, or 3 points above. So this is a really narrow gap, and it means every question counts, which is why understanding your score is a game changer. So our free ARE 5.0 score calculator can help you figure this out, and I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. So NCARB also keeps the exams fair. They have a big, diverse group of architects to write the questions, and they train them to hopefully skip biases. And actually, I had an interview with Jared, who is the VP of examinations, a couple years ago, and you can go back and listen to that episode too. We talk a little bit about ARE 6.0, but he talks about how you could sign up and go be part of writing these exams. If I remember correctly, I believe you have to be a licensed architect, but if you have already passed your exams, or someone, a friend or something like that, you actually can be a part of that, which is pretty cool. So after pre-testing these exams, they check for different biases, and ESL accommodations are available for all the jurisdictions. And really the whole point is to give everyone a fair shot. And I know that even in the most recent years, they've expanded upon that to for ESL, which is awesome. So you might wonder why NCARB doesn't give a detailed passing score. But here's the thing. Well, first of all, they give them a lot more detailed now than when I took them a couple years ago, which is awesome. But since the ARE tests minimal competence, a pass is a pass. There's not like a high or a low for licensing. If you pass, you freaking did it. Awesome. You're an architect. So, but for failed attempts, they do share the section info just to help you guide in your prep so that you know like what to focus on and lets you help you get there rather than like just having to go start from scratch and read it all again. But actually, I do want to say that too, though, and you'll see in our score calculator that we give some tips and advice of what to focus on next based on your results. But I will say that even if you do pass one section, don't just totally ignore it for your retake. You still want to look at it, refresh your memory because you just never know. You never know if the exam division that you're going to get is going to be a little bit more strict on that area. You want to make sure that you're still staying fresh with that information too. One note is NCARB doesn't release test items because they reuse the good ones for quick scoring. So you're not going to get your exam back with the questions that you got right or wrong, right? So like you may go into an exam and see a similar question that you had before and not know if you actually got it right or wrong, but it's because obviously, so they use them again. But so what the best recommendation I have is to actually use NCARB's practice demo exams that they have on their website. They're going to be the closest thing in terms of difficulty, layout, duration, all that stuff to the real deal. So you definitely want to do a couple of those during your study prep so you really know what to expect. But then it's also good to sprinkle in other third-party practice questions, like ones we have inside the ABC Club, because it can help you retain the information in a different way. It's expanding your knowledge even deeper. So how do you put this into action? Say you're sitting right there right now. You just took an exam recently. You have your score report. You're ready to start studying again. You want to pass this thing. What do you do next? That is exactly why I created the new ARE 5.0 score calculator. And it is different than anything that's out there. It highlights what's important, and it's incredible. So it is updated based on the latest pass rates that was provided, which right now we have the 2024 pass rates. You're going to go into the calculator, you plug in your NCARB percentages. We also have an option for if you just want to enter in your scaled score, your like 100 through 800 instead of the individual percentages. That's fine too. You choose which exam it's for. It will show the different sections if you do the percentages. And then you're going to get an estimated overall percentage. So it's going to let you know roughly where you're at based on your score compared to what the historical data is for passing. It's going to give you a pass band comparison. So there's actually this band that is going to kind of show you where you're at. And then we also have a unique ROI leverage ranking. What this does is it actually helps you prioritize your studying. So it'll help you see which sections will give you the biggest ROI, where if ROI is return on investment, basically where you should really be focusing your studying to get the best bang for your buck, the best bang for your time so that you can get in there and pass. Best thing too, there's no sign up needed. You don't even need to give me your email. I'm not collecting any data from this calculator. It is solely 100% for you to use to help you pass your exams. So you can try it today. I'm going to put the link down in the description. It's dci.byoungdesign.com. /ARE-5-O-score-calculator. But don't worry, I put it in the link so you can just go click it too. But in case you're not able to find the link or whatever, that is where you can find it. All right. And say you've done that and you love it and you're ready for more. We also have a free ARE resource library it has like trainings, it has guides, it got video, depending on where you're at the process. There's a little assessment if you want to take it when you first get on there, just to see where you're at. It'll tell you whether you're a newbie, whether you're a veteran, you're a hustler, meaning like you've been in there, you've taken multiple exams, and you're ready to be done with this thing. But you get access to everything. It doesn't matter about the assessment. That's just to help you out. But go in there, check out all the resources, literally free, just to help you get that next step forward. And then you're ready to dive even deeper. Come join us inside the ABC Club. This is where you get the structured support with podcasts, videos. We have a community. It's amazing. You will love it. And it's helped hundreds, if not thousands now, of people pass their exams. Okay. At BYoung Design, my goal is to really help you pass those exams, build your career, and actually enjoy this process. Because, my God, I know it is a journey and a roller coaster, and it's a wild time in life, but it's exciting too. So we're here to keep it fun and light and exciting. Okay, before we sign off, quick plug, of course, go subscribe to us on YouTube at BYoung Design. If you're watching us here right now or listening to us, give us a little, thumbs up, do a subscribe. If you're not and you want to listen to us over on the podcast, go do that, Design, Create, Inspire. And we give you up-to-date information, tips, ARE study tips, practice questions, all sorts of stuff. All right. And if you have any questions or feedback or anything, leave me a comment, reach out on social media. And until next time, you got this. Keep designing, keep creating, and keep inspiring. Talk soon. Bye. Thanks for listening today. Hey, remember, you've got free resources waiting for you at dci.byoungdesign.com/resources. And when you're ready for deeper support and to come hang out with us, join us inside the ABC Club and ABC Club Premium, where you are going to get the help you need to pass your exam and actually enjoy the process. So don't let another week go by without moving forward. Take action. You got this. Check the links in the show notes and join us inside the club.